The new Disney Wish is much different than the 4 previous DCL ships, and let's just say the fans have not been too welcoming. But are these negative reviews justified? Well, we've just returned from our second sailing on Disney Wish, and take a look at the common complaints we hear from DCL fans to see if Disney Cruise Line made a huge mistake with Disney Wish. Up next. Welcome aboard, cruisers. I'm DB from Eat, Sleep, Cruise, where we help you see the world one port at a time with our cruise reviews, ship tours, and tons of cruise planning advice. Now, we first sailed on Disney Wish back in July of this year and actually had a really good time. So we were surprised to hear that loyal Castaway Key members were not fans of this new ship. So with several of the common complaints about Disney Wish in hand, we returned to the vessel this October to see if Disney Cruise Line made a big mistake with Disney Wish. The most common complaints we hear about Disney Wish have to do with the adults only area, the Quiet Cove. Located all the way aft on Deck 13, many regular DCL cruisers are not happy with this space. Among the common complaints is that the area is just too small. Given the ship is 144,000 gross tons and carries 3,200 passengers, we do agree that the area is tight for the number of adults on the ship. Not to mention that accessing the deck is not the easiest. Cruisers either need to walk through the pool area and up the stairs, or wait for the couple of elevators that actually go all the way up to this aft Deck 13 area. Further, cruisers complain that they don't like the location right behind the AquaMouse, with parts of this attraction directly overhead. The critics also don't like the setup, as accessing the pool is difficult, especially for those with limited mobility. Instead of an inset pool, the main infinity pool is a plunge pool that requires steps to enter. So, did Disney Cruise Line make a huge mistake when designing the Quiet Cove on Disney Wish? Well, during our first sailing on Disney Wish earlier this summer, getting prime seats at the Quiet Cove was not an easy task. Essentially, cruisers need to wake up bright and early to claim a spot. Although, on our second cruise in October of this year, getting seats did seem a bit easier. We were able to find seats in the shade on a few occasions during this sailing. With the ship comparable in size to vessels like Royal Caribbean's Freedom of the Seas, the Quiet Cove on Disney Wish should definitely have had more lounge chairs and deck space. The adults-only solariums on competitor brands are much roomier than the Quiet Cove on Disney Wish. During our time in this space, we didn't hear a lot of noise from the AquaMouse though. Granted, we did sit mostly on the starboard side, where the AquaMouse entrance is on the port side. Even when further aft, or on the port side near the Quiet Cove Cafe, we didn't hear much noise from the riders, except for the loungers directly next to the privacy shield separating two spaces. However, we do agree that finding the Quiet Cove is not the easiest. Yet, once you figure it out, it's really just a short walk. Although having to trek through the main family pool area to get to the adults only area feels rather ironic. Not to mention, the pool deck is often very crowded and the deck surface can be wet and slippery. Overall, we didn't really spend too much time at the Quiet Cove, as there are many other areas around the ship to enjoy. For instance, there's the forward sun deck on Deck 14 near the Chip and Dale pool. This pool is larger and never all that busy. It also has plenty of loungers facing the sun on the starboard side. On Decks 4, 5, and 6, you find Disney Wish's attempt at a promenade deck. However, as the DCL fans point out, this promenade deck does not wrap around the ship. Further, it includes several sets of stairs, so it's not ideal for those who like to use the space for walking or jogging. So again, it appears that Disney Cruise Line had a major design flaw when creating this promenade space on these lower decks. Now, there are several reasons why there's a series of steps on these decks, including the new outdoor spa area at the front of the ship. The stairs from Deck 5 actually lead up to a viewing platform on Deck 6 at the front of the ship. This area is nice for getting some views of the upcoming locations. Plus, you can spot the hidden Mickey located in the Senses Spa outdoor area one deck below. Though, the Deck 4 promenade area abruptly ends on both the starboard and port sides of the ship at the aft end. So, we tend to agree with the DCL fans that we do not like the Disney Wish doesn't have a walking or jogging track that circles the entire ship. Almost all cruise ships feature this midship open area. So the fact that DCL did not properly design the space on Disney Wish is a bit of a letdown. In all honesty, if I do work out, I tend to use the cruise ship's gym anyway. At least there, Disney Wish has a fairly good-sized fitness center on Deck 5 forward for a ship of its size. So cruisers could opt to use this space instead to get in some cardio, as there are a variety of treadmills, ellipticals, and other cardio equipment. Another common thing we hear from Disney Cruise Line fans has to do with the food on Disney Wish. Several have indicated that they were disappointed in the food on board this new ship. Many claim to prefer the cruise line's typical pool deck quick service options. Further, several have given the main dining room food poor reviews. Given that Disney Wish is the only ship in the fleet on which we've sailed, we don't have a direct Disney Cruise Line comparison here. Though we have sailed on 14 other cruise lines, 60 plus cruises. So we've eaten plenty of cruise food. All along, we've heard that Disney Cruise Line offers a premium cruise experience. So we had high expectations about the quality of the food found on Disney Cruise Line ships. So, did Disney Cruise Line drop the ball when it comes to dining on board Disney Wish? Well, contrary to the other reviews of Mickey and Friends Festival of Foods, we actually really liked this quick service venue. All of the different food stations offer well-prepared, fresh, and delicious menu items. Among our favorites were Donald's Cantina, serving Tex-Mex options, and Mickey's Smokestack, including barbecued items like brisket, ribs, cornbread, and mac and cheese. So for us, the casual eats on Disney Wish were on par with other cruise lines. However, when it came to the main dining room, we were not impressed. During our first cruise on Disney Wish, we dined at all 3 complimentary restaurants. Overall, the food at 1923 was our favorite. My filet mignon was cooked to a medium rare temperature with just the right amount of seasoning. Plus, the apple cheesecake was a decadent dessert that was the best on the ship. Still, I would say it was on par with the main dining room meals on contemporary cruise lines. After 1923, it was pretty downhill. I was not a fan of much at Worlds of Marvel, besides the coconut shrimp appetizer, which has actually been removed from the menu on our most recent trip. The Frozen Dining Adventures attempt at authentic Norwegian food was uninspiring as well, although we both did enjoy the interactive theater aspect of this dining experience. Though, given our expectations, the complimentary dining rooms did not impress us on Disney Wish. However, we did dine at Palo Steakhouse during our second sailing on the ship, and we were very impressed with this specialty restaurant. While this adults-only restaurant is an upcharge, and when compared to many cruise lines, it's pretty pricey for a specialty restaurant, we thought the food was outstanding. We do have plans to sail on another DCL cruise ship in 2023 to see how the food on Disney Wish compares to the rest of the fleet. Despite all the glowing reviews, it is possible that the food on Disney Cruise Line is just more akin to other contemporary brands like Royal Caribbean and Norwegian Cruise Line than we were expecting. With the brand new Triton class design, Disney Cruise Line made several changes to the ship's overall design and layout. Similar to newer vessels like Norwegian Prima or Virgin Voyages vessels, the ship eschews large open spaces for smaller, more intimate areas. Given we have sailed on several of these new ships from other cruise lines, and have heard similar complaints, we're not too surprised that Disney Cruise Line fans have similar complaints. Many popular venues found on other Disney ships are still on board, just in new formats or areas. Still, the Disney fans do not seem to appreciate this new design. So, did Disney Cruise Line make a huge mistake with this new Triton class of ships? Well, honestly, we think Disney Cruise Line did a fantastic job of breaking up some of these larger spaces. For example, the traditional pool deck on other ships has been transformed into a more divided space. Now, several small pools are scattered between decks 11 and 12, with one additional one all the way forward on deck 14. This new tiered system seemed to spread out families well. In our opinion, the pool deck actually functioned better than one large pool packed with kids. If anything, it let more individuals enjoy the pool deck with pools of various sizes, depths, and views. Although the interior decks on Disney Wish do have a few questionable design choices. The guest services desk takes up the port side of Deck 5 midship. Guests need to wait in line while other guests are using the hallway to get from one end of the ship to the other. Across the way, the character meet and greets also occur, which can make the space quite hectic. Further, it seems a bit odd that there are two coffee shops, located only one deck apart. Both of these venues serve a similar menu and offer limited seating that is in the middle of a main walkway. Finding venues can be a bit tricky if you don't know exactly where to go, but at least you are able to walk from one end of the ship to the other end. Some of the newer ships from other cruise lines actually have more dead ends and limited pathways. Admittedly, it might take some searching to find the pre-teens area on Deck 5, or the midship elevators and stairs on Deck 3, but this wasn't too much of an issue for us. While it might not seem the most logical, the ship's layout functioned pretty well in our opinion. Disney Wish's main venues felt the appropriate size. While small, lounges like the Bayou, Hyperspace Lounge, or even Luna's were never overly busy. Further, we could always find a seat for the shows in the Walt Disney Theater, arriving approximately 20 minutes before showtime. This is a stark contrast to our recent sailing on Norwegian Cruise Line's new ship, Norwegian Prima. Here, venues were standing room only 30 minutes before shows and events even started. Yes, on Disney Wish, there were large lines in front of the main dining rooms before each dinner seating. But we suspect this queuing occurs on all Disney ships with rotational dining. Like anything new, it takes time to get accustomed to the changes. We suspect that DCL fans will come to appreciate the layout, as it provides more public venues, options, and new ways to enjoy all the Disney magic on board Disney Wish. Another letdown for DCL fans is the Hyperspace Lounge on Disney Wish. Critiques here range from the space being too small, to the underwhelming theming and decor, to the drink prices. After all, there is a $5,000 drink on the menu. Not to mention, the cruise line initially required individuals to make reservations for the venue. Currently, the venue is walk-up, and with no wait or lines during our second cruise on the ship, we suspect Disney Cruise Lines will not have to go back to the reservation system. Now, if you are a Star Wars fan like me, you should check out the Hyperspace Lounge. We visited the venue on each of our cruises. I liked the cocktails and enjoyed the jumps to familiar locales in the Star Wars universe. However, with all of the build-up around this venue, at the launch of the ship, it is honestly a rather ordinary cruise ship bar. I can concur that I was hoping for the theming that was more like Oga's Cantina in Galaxy's Edge. On Disney Wish, the most intricate venue for fans of a galaxy far, far away is actually the cargo bay on Deck 2 in the Kids Oceaneer Club. I suggest you head down there during open house to check out the spectacular space. It's extremely detailed and engaging area. There are even character meet and greets with Chewbacca and Rey during your cruise. This encounter gives big kids like me an excuse to visit the space for a quick photo with popular Star Wars characters. Now, if this look at Disney Wish has you interested in learning more about the ship, why not check out our complete Disney Wish ship tour and walkthrough? In that video, we go deck by deck, showcasing all the restaurants, bars and lounges, public venues, and amenities found on Disney Wish to help you decide if Disney Wish is right for your next cruise vacation.